All right, everybody, we're taking bets right now. Who's going to win, Guts or Serpico? Guts or Serpico? Bets being placed. Who do you think it's going to be? Spoiler alert, it's... Announcements up top, as always. Still haven't hit 1,000, so don't worry about that one. Ooh! All right, so I'm probably really late to the party on this one. And I know that I got a lot of suggestions for Chainsaw Man when I did my little What Should I Read Next poll. But I watched a trailer this week for the anime. And holy shit, was that some stuff. So now I'm like, feeling bad about my life decisions. Maybe I should have read that manga so that I could tie it all into the show or something. I feel like I'm going to be missing out on something. Anyway, and I'm not going to go rushing out and buying it because you know what? Right down there, bottom shelf there, I've already kind of committed to Doro Hedoro. I mean, to the point where I've spent a couple $100 on those little books down there. You can't see them from here. Anyway, I spent way too much time and effort and energy and money on Doro Hedoro and Poon Poon to just go forgetting about them. So here's my question, and let me know in the comments down below, but should I do, instead of doing like a Chainsaw Man read through, should I just go into that show blind? By blind, I mean having not read the manga. Just go straight into it, head first, knowing absolutely nothing, because I literally know nothing. And then come back and do reviews of the show, having not read the manga first, instead of, like trying to rush out and get the manga and then read it real quick so I can be like, well, technically the manga was better. So while I'm doing like Berserk read-throughs or Doro Hedoro read-throughs, I can also be doing like a blind watch of Chainsaw Man, having not read the manga first. I think that might be fun. Or should I just skip it entirely? But I watched that trailer, I tell you, and it looked, There is no tea bag in my tea today. I didn't even warm it up because I was in a hurry to get to... Anyway, back to the Berserk. And the fight begins. And as usual, or as expected, or however you want to look at it, Serpico is using every possible thing that he can to his advantage, bordering on cheating, let's be honest. And even with all of that, Guts is still basically coming out on top everywhere you turn. I mean, he's just slicing through the pillars and whatnot. Even though the pillars are slowing his sword down to the point where he really can't reach terminal velocity or maximum velocity or whatever you want to call it, he's still really just got the advantage here, doesn't he? I mean, he's just cutting through the pillars. He's changing his grip to deflect blades when Serpico thinks that he's gonna actually get some type of a strike in or a hit in on him. He's just proving way harder to deal with than Serpico can accommodate for. And the whole time we're inside of Serpico's head as Serpico's, strategizing and trying to figure stuff out, and maybe if I do this and now's my chance and I'll just stab here. Oh my God, he switched his grip, Also, he's trying to come to terms with the fact that he's being overly emotional in the battle, which is uncharacteristic for him. And he's thinking about how he's changed throughout his time traveling with Guts, and how Farnace has changed, and how possibly Guts has changed him, or at least the experiences with Guts has changed him and Farnace. And we get to see that his main drive for doing this and attempting to even take Guts on at all is just because he really wants to protect Farnace from Guts if for some reason he were to be taken over by the Berserker armor. But then Serpico makes his big play, which is to bring the ceiling down on top of Guts. And just by reflexes alone, Guts deflects the ceiling back at Serpico and ruins Serpico's plans. But at this point, the fight is effectively over. Shirke is very upset by the battle. Isidro is confused. He is not even sure if they were fighting for real. He actually has to ask him, were you actually going at each other right now? To which both Serpico and Guts are like, yeah, dude. Even Guts says he's not so weak that I can go easy on him, which just speaks to the technical abilities of Serpico and just how technically good at fighting Serpico really is, which I really enjoy because I've grown to like Serpico. So just getting, those little, just getting those verbal acknowledgments from Guts is nice. But at the end of that, Serpico does add in that I challenged him to a duel by the sword. And out of honor, Guts responded with the sword. And he didn't use his cannon, he didn't use his knives, he didn't use his arrows, he didn't use his grenades, and most of all, he didn't use the Berserker armor. And he ends it with saying, Guts is honest to a fault. So whereas Serpico's using any advantage he could get, Guts dialed his all the way back to, I was challenged to a duel by the sword, I will meet you with my sword. Which was, I like this scene. This was a good little scene. But anyway, everybody kisses and makes up. Serpico gets his magical gear back, and we're off to the ball. And over at the ball, right as Farnace's brother is about to announce her engagement to Prince Charming, or whatever the hell his name is, the beasts arrive, and nobody's ready for it. And right as Farnace's fiance, Prince Charming, is going to fight one of the tigers, Farnace literally just jumps right in front of him and stabs it with a candelabra because it's made of silver. So she's right on it from the start when Serpico swoops in to save her. And we get this wonderful shot of Guts saying, looks like the party's in full swing. And we're off. And Guts and Serpico pretty much go to town because they are, at this point, our two main guys, our two main fighters that really are head first into everything. The best of the best is what I would call him in this group. Seriously. When Shirke is able to locate the spellcasters, and Serpico's going to go running off to get them. And then Shirke gives Farnace a vine ring to control some vine snakes. And Prince Charming is being a whole lot more useful here than I ever would have expected him to be. But we fight the demons inside with Guts, and outside Serpico takes out the spellcasters, and the party is saved. Yay! And right afterwards, Guts goes straight up to Farnace and he asks her, is this the last stop on your journey? To which she answers, no, I just wanted to stop in and visit. Which is the most low-key way of getting Farnace back ever. But touching and fitting, all the same. But okay, now that the battle's over, all of the people at the party, the guests, are just going to become immediately super suspicious of Guts and crew and party because, oh my god, did they use magic? Are they witches? Do they have a witch? Is Farnace, like, are you fucking serious right now, people? Your lives were just saved and you're immediately like, bad. Magic, bad. Evil people. We were saved, but we're alive because of these evil people over here, like they're going to lynch them or something. And then her mom's going to get another couple of panels here of just staring at Farnace and speculating. And they're going to portray her like she's some wise old lady or something. Like, look at the trust that you put in them. Never once did I see that at the manor. No shit. Why don't you do me a favor real quick and just go drown yourself in the harbor? That would be great. I fucking hate that woman. But anyway, the crowd's going to turn on him. And Farnace's dad's going to step in and he's going to make some big old speech about it was probably just illusions and the cushioned army is striking at the head and is this really how you want to spend your last night before the battle, etc., etc., etc. And now pay close attention here because the very next thing that's said is Guts turn into Farnace and go, man, your old man really is tough. And I'm just like, eat it, bitch. You're all like, oh, your dad's such a weak man. And here's Guts telling her how tough he is. And I'm sorry, but if Guts says that he's tough, then he's tough. And you're probably just a dumb. Anyway, the Cushion King bursts in like a ceiling of fire or something, and he's basically booming at the sky. These are no illusions. And
this is just the start of a nightmare without end this evening or something.
And the streets are overrun with demon beasts. I mean, here come the Cushion, here come the tigers, here come all of it. The harbor is set on fire, the ships are on fire, everything's just insane at this point. When suddenly Prince Charming's like, I have a ship, and it's not in the harbor, I keep it off somewhere else. That's very convenient for the plot at this point, which is fine. And then he turns to the brother and he's like, I want to display some of my qualities as a fiancé right now. And I'm not even going to lie, I thought this guy was going to be literally ejected from the story like 2 chapters ago. I did not expect him to even last this long. Not that I just, like a real throwaway character, like, oh, this is here for the scene to add, I don't know, stakes to her going home. And now, oh, look, there's a suitor for you. Oh, I'm back with Guts, moving on. I didn't expect him to stick around, but it looks like he may. But anyway, we're off. And we get one last shot of the mom staring at him as they go. We just can't get rid of her for some reason. And Guts runs into like a knight leader that recognizes him from before as the captain of the raiders. And Guts just goes, "No, that wasn't me," and walks away. And the scene is literally over just as quickly as it began. So either this scene was completely pointless, or we'll be seeing Owen again in the future. I'm not sure. One or the other. At this point, neither of which would surprise me, because I've said, oh, this guy's going to be important. Yeah. Nope. So we'll see. Anyway, so now we get a scene of the Pontiff, and I'm assuming that in this universe, the Pontiff is this world's equivalent of a pope. And he's on his way to see off the troops for battle at the harbor that's on fire. And he's basically just old and dying at this point. And he's portrayed as the epitome of a wasted life. Or at least one that is completely and utterly devoid of any wanting or desire, to use a Berserk term. He says that his life had no loving or hating, when suddenly he has a vision of the hawk. And then Sonia and the little night boy burst in and offer to take him to the hawk, to which he very eagerly accepts, almost in a joyful, kind of energetic way, which doesn't really portray him. Like 5 pages ago, they portrayed him as like some dying old man, and now he's like bouncing up and down like, "Ooh, the hawk." I'm like, he doesn't look like he's on his deathbed as much as they portrayed him to be like 2 pages ago anyway. And I'm just like, oh, great. I don't know where this is going, but it can't be good. That's all. But anyway, back at the town, the battle in the streets is in full swing, and everybody's pretty much just doing their thing, including, Isidro and Serpico and Guts and all of them. Prince Charming is attempting to come to terms with everything that he's seeing, magic included, when suddenly one of those sea monster things from before shows up, and Guts goes after it, like, immediately. And a bunch of demons on catback, I think that's what you would call that. I mean, if you're on a horse, you're on horseback, right? So I'm going to say a bunch of demons arrive on catback. But anyway, we're fighting when suddenly Guts is crushed by the sea monster. At least that's what it looks like when suddenly we realize he's on top of the building somehow. He ran up the stairs. And then he jumps down and he stabs the ever-living shit out of that thing. And then the end. But wave after wave of demons just keep showing up, and it's way more than they could ever hope to handle in their current state. So Guts is getting ready to go berserk when Shirke says, no, don't do that. Let me cast a spell, like I did back in the town with the tidal wave. Just buy me some time. So that's what Guts does. He buys her some time. But we also find out here in this little scene that casting magic at all for her, these kind of large-scale spells that she can do, is actually hard because she's so detached from nature, and it's so hard to find sources of nature, the elements necessary to cast her spells, and even to hear and feel the energy of the forces of nature, because the city itself is so disconnected. But she finds some fire, and she's going to connect to that. And, fire spell, baby. But anyway, similar to the flood, this time we're going to get fire. And it's a wheel of fire. A fire wheel. Wheel fire. I don't know, but it's really... And she literally just burns through them all. I mean, this chick, give her, a good half hour of prep time. I don't know. Actually didn't feel that long this time. It felt way longer the last time. But give her enough prep time and you give her enough... Yeah. You give this chick a chance to cast one of her ultimate elemental spells, and she'll just wipe out an army in one go. It's quite impressive. But anyway, yeah, she literally burns through the entire army and collapses onto the ground. And then we get a shot of her on the ground with Guts bending over going, "You did a good job." And first off, that's just a nice shot, period. And secondly, we're going to stop here because this feels like a kind of quiet-ish moment in what I feel is going to be a very, very long run of insanity, for lack of a better word. And this was much better, wasn't it? Actually, that's not fair. I wouldn't say that this was much better. I would just say it was pretty much on par with everything that we'd had up until this point. It just felt better because it didn't have all the irregular tonal shifts from, you know, that comedy that I don't like. So it felt better, even though I wouldn't say that it's technically better. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give this one an 8 just because it was good. It was good. It was good enough. I don't know. But I can tell you I'm definitely looking forward to what's... I feel like we're building. I feel like we're ending. I feel like we're starting to ramp into the end of the arc. I don't know that for sure, but we're building into something. And these tend to be quite bombastic and quite fun. So I'm looking forward to what at least the next 1 or 2 reads I'm really looking forward to. Anyway, everybody, we're going to go ahead and we're going to call it an 8. And I want to thank you all for coming, and I will see you next time.